what exactly did Elon mean by saying that ChatGPT is too woke? Now, I agree there needs to be accountability. Poor old Sam Altman feels that Elon, who's one of his idols, tends to give it to him a little bit too much on Twitter.
Elon is obviously attacking us some on Twitter right now on a few different vectors, and I have empathy because I believe he is, understandably so, really stressed about AGI safety.
And hey, lots of people have been pretty harsh with Elon over the years. Go easy on these guys. They're trying their best. Let's remind ourselves in a few sentences what woke actually means. Initially, the term woke started as a way to describe a state of heightened awareness on social and political issues, particularly those related to systemic racism and equality. And there's nothing wrong with that, even though the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, admitted in a recent podcast that he doesn't even know what woke is anymore.
Honestly, I barely know what woke means anymore. I did for a while, and I feel like the word has morphed. So
let me help you, Sam. And it kind of evolved. Well, that's what it seems to be happening every day on the internet. And it has almost become more divisive and politically correct and a way of virtue signaling and a way of cancelling people that don't agree. So in a certain sense, rather than being more open, again, it becomes more polarised and more closed. The perception of the woke movement is ultimately shaped by the complex range of factors such as your political ideology, your personal experiences, your cultural values, and all of that. Elon did have a point. I'll explain what exactly he was on about in a moment. And he did point out that he had a serious concern. When Elon Musk says something in the area of new technology, people sit up and listen, because not only was he one of the people that initially started the whole conversation around AI, but also because he has used technology for the advancement of humanity already through the electric cars and through his SpaceX and through all his other different projects. So what was this serious concern? Well, basically, it was put out there on Twitter that Elon had asked the chatbot, which I never would have thought of, to generate a poem about Trump. And it didn't. But it gave a very nice one for good old Joe Biden. Thanks for visiting Ireland recently. So it was a serious concern, because if it's only giving a biased answer towards one or the other political ideology, that's not cool. Now, when this first emerged, one of the co-founders came out to Business Insider India. I know, I didn't even know there was a Business Insider India. But hey, they interviewed him and he said, yeah, we recognize our mistake and we're working on it. Sam Altman recently then in this podcast which he gave, which is very enjoyable, link will be in the description below if you're interested in this theme at all. And when he said it was a serious concern, well, it's not fair that something this powerful tends to only present one side of the argument. In the interview, this is what Brockman said. Our goal is not to have an AI that is biased in any particular direction. We want the default personality of OpenAI to be one that treats all sides equally. Exactly what that means is hard to operationalize, and I think we're not quite there. Now, since then, there's been another release. Let's see what Sam Altman says.
I will say I think it was too biased and will always be. There will be no one version of GPT that the world ever agrees is unbiased. What I think is we've made a lot. Like, again, even some of our harshest critics have gone off and been tweeting about 3.5 to 4 comparisons and being like, wow, these people really got a lot better. Not that they don't have more work to do, and we certainly do, but I appreciate critics who display intellectual honesty like that.
Yeah.
And there's been more of that than I would have thought. We will try to get the default version to be as neutral as possible, but as neutral as possible is not that neutral if you have to do it, again, for more than one person.
So in conclusion, the fact that at the minute anyway, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and all of the teams seem to be so open means it's kept accountable because others then can wade in. In my opinion, seeing both sides of the argument has huge benefits. First and foremost, it can help to broaden your understanding of any issue or topic. And when you take the time to consider multiple perspectives, you are more likely to gain a deeper understanding of the underlying factors at play and the complexities involved. This will lead to more informed decision making and more effective problem solving. Benefit number 2, seeing both sides of an argument will foster greater empathy and understanding towards others. When you make an effort to understand someone else's point of view, you are likely to see things from their perspective and appreciate the reasons behind their benefits and opinions. This will build stronger relationships and reduce conflict and create a more inclusive and accepting society. Doesn't mean you have to devalue your values. It means that at least you understand the other person's point of view. And this has huge benefits. Finally, seeing both sides of the argument will sharpen your own critical thinking skills. You're evaluating multiple perspectives, you're weighing up the pros and cons of different arguments, you're developing your ability to analyse information and make sound judgments. This is a valuable skill in all areas of life, from personal relationships to professional decision making to running a business. Critical thinking. And I believe OpenAI and ChatGPT is going to foster this more because of the fact that it has to take into consideration all sides of the argument. You can't just present one. And the more this is presented to us and the more and more people that use this type of chatbot will ultimately, it'll expand their mind. Remember what T. Harv Eker says in The Secret of the Millionaire Mind. What you focus on expands. Where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. I'd prefer the quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes, who says, man's mind, or a person's mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions. That's what I hold hope for when I think of this argument. Elon, thanks for pointing it out. Lads over at OpenAI, thanks for taking it on board. And let's hope the next iteration is even better. I hope you've enjoyed this brief conversation of what Elon said recently, how I believe it has changed even now the conversation around bias and perspective and both sides of the argument. And ultimately, I do believe deep down this is a great thing. If you've liked this sort of content, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button. I can't believe this is still an important thing to say. Thank you for joining me. This is Patrick over at The Middle-Aged Maverick. Catch you again. Bye-bye. Still working? Hey. Okay. It is. Whoops. Get this over a wee bit. Down a wee bit. Okay. ChatGPT, in a few sentences, let's remind her. Gave an interview,